I'm doing all this because I have the opportunity to do it. People are saying, would you like to? And I'm thinking, hey, I would like to. I would also like to ride my horses, but I just rode in competition yesterday. I rode 7 horses in a reining competition, and I had bad luck, and you know, reining is so delicate. If you're astride late on a change of leads, it's already half a point deducted. And it's just there's practice to perfection, and then there's an element in every sport which is luck. And I had a lot of that. Not a lot. I had some bad luck yesterday. So out of 107 people competing, it was a huge class. I was the first up yesterday morning at 7:30 on a horse, and I got on a horse at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All that time I was running. 3 o'clock was the last horse, and dashed to make an airplane to get here. Why do I do that? Because the opportunity is there, and I feel I can. So I'm riding more horses than a kid of 18 in a competition, and then I'm running here to talk to you and sign autographs and do that kind of thing. And I don't know. It's such an exciting life. Listen, I come from a very poor family in Montreal. I've struggled for 20 years to try to put a couple of $1,000s in the bank, brought up 3 kids. It was tough. I got ahead the last several years. I have a little money, and I got a little prestige. So when I tell you what I'm done, and I'm going to tell you right now, understand that I'm where you are, looking that way and thinking, holy cats, I wish I could do that. But I'm doing it. Yesterday, I got on a private jet. No, start off at home. Run home, take a shower, get changed, got into these clothes. A limousine calls for my wife and I, drives us to a private airport. We get on a private jet, lent to me by Bombardier. Private jet flies me here, talking to you, signing autographs. Tomorrow morning, I get on the private jet, and a limousine calls for me at the hotel, takes me to the private jet. I get on a private jet. I can't believe it. Plane takes me to Toronto. I do press in Toronto. Then I do a one-man show at a great hall, a legendary building that when I was living in Toronto, I said, wow, that's a great theater. Going there, doing a one-man show, it's gotten pretty good, the one-man show. I'm getting pretty good at reviews, and people getting a standing ovation. Got one here in Winnipeg, people standing applaud. Wow, look at that, they're standing, I can't believe it. And then on to Montreal. Then after Montreal, fly back to LA, all on a private jet. It's like luxury. It's the 1%. I've never been part of the 1%. I'm telling you, if you can ever get a limousine to drive you to a private airport, to get on a private plane and go someplace, do it! So that's what I mean. As for the things that touch me most, well, I'll tell you one that is very close to all our hearts. When I was a kid in Montreal, polio was one of the worst things that could happen. It's one thing to die of a disease. Boom, you catch it, boom, you're dead. Oh yeah, you're dead. You don't really know about it. I don't have to tell you what polio did to the kids of 2 generations ago. It was the scourge. Every parent thought, what will I do if my child catches it? And people were catching it. They invented the March of Dimes, started, and they began to fund the cure, the vaccine for polio. When I had my first child, And they had Tiny Tim walk across the thing. Not Tiny Tim, but the poster child for March of Dimes. When I was a young man and I watched the child limp across the television screen, I'd feel very badly for him. But when I had my first child and I saw that kid walk across the television screen, I would weep for the child and how lucky I was that my child was whole. So the March of Dimes was instrumental in funding this cure. The March of Dimes, I'm a spokesman for March of Dimes in Canada, and so if you want to know something that's touched me all my life, it's the knowledge of that child. I see it in my eye, in front of my eyes all the time. It's also the overwhelming sense of luck, and that's all it is, that it hasn't touched me or my own personally. And I always have that sense of gratefulness and gratitude because of it. So I hope that answers your question. I need a lady to raise the, yes, lady in a suit.
When going weird or what, was there anything that you found, or that your crew found, that you did start filming, but it just got way too involved or too large to actually put on film?
No. Weird or What is a terrific show. I love it. I know Canadians are enjoying it. And by the way, it's sold into the States on the Travel Channel. It will appear next year on the Travel Channel. Weird or What stemmed from a show. What? What? Are you embarrassed to speak out loud? There was a show I did. I was asked to do a show that they wanted to call How Star Trek Changed the World. So I said, great, that sounds great, and all the stuff that Star Trek did, like the transportation thing, and I agreed to do it. And then stupid Paramount said, well, you can't use the word Star Trek. Huh? Just promote Star Trek? Well, no, sorry, you can't. Okay, so let's call it How Captain Kirk Changed the World. No, you can't use Captain Kirk. What the heck? All right, so then the third choice was How William Shatner Changed the World. Which was really embarrassing. I kept thinking, oh my gosh. I hope they understand that it started off Star Trek and Captain Kirk before me. I haven't been able to tell that story too much. So it became How William Shatner Changed the World, and it really did well. As a result, we did another show or something like that. And then I wrote a book, or else I wrote the book before Shatner Changed the World called I'm Working on That. And I'm working on that tries to deal with how things work. So, all that was the preamble to this series that tries to explain strange phenomena. And there's so many. The world is awesome. The world that we can perceive is awesome. It's so mysterious. We start with the thought. The first thought, the basic thought is we know nothing. We know absolutely nothing. We know less than nothing because what we know is in all likelihood not valid anyway. So we're in a negative position. Like I love to speculate on the speed of sound, of light. Speed of light is a basic mathematical thing in devising where we are in space. Speed of light, whatever that is, 450 mile to light year, whatever that is. 182 180,000 miles per second. No, it's faster than that. That's nothing, 180,000. You know that for sure? What are your qualifications? Laura? You're teaching that. You what? You're teaching it. So you're spreading the rumor. But here's my thesis. We know nothing. We perceive light. You know, our eyes perceive the blue, red to blue. Our machines perceive greater light. But how do we perceive what our machines perceive? I mean, we know nothing. And I would willing to bet, even if I'm not around, I'll pay off, that we'll someday find that light, that's not the last word in what the speed of whatever's going across. How does that work when two crystals vibrate thousands of miles apart? What I'm saying is, and I know you'll agree with me, and if you don't, you have to leave, that everything is mysterious. It's so bizarre that we can't even begin to understand how weird. I'll use the word weird, but I don't mean weird. I mean how strange and inviting and awesome all knowledge is. We have canceled the space program because of finances. I understand that. But the end result is knowledge out there. Like, what's going on? What is dark matter? What is dark energy? One of the things I read that I didn't mention in the one-man show was I read an account of a scientist talking about how they're finding that the universe is expanding. That was bad enough. Then they're finding that it's expanding at an increasing rate. It's expanding so quickly that it's like to the 10th part of the 10th, like exponentially. The scientist said it's expanding so quickly, he said, it's scary. What's he scared of? What was it, 5 billion years from now, something terrible's going to happen? What's he scared of? And then the other guy said, nothing is everything. What do you mean by that? What does it mean nothing is everything? Like, is there nothing in between everything? Like between them, we know how wide space is between the electrons and the molecule. We know how that's so wide. But when we see the stars and the galaxies, they can pass through each other for so much space and not hit. Or then they do hit and we have explode. I mean, it's just crazy what we don't know, the knowledge. It's weird. And so weird or what attempts to explain in some some fashion of the little we know. Yeah, you drop an apple and it falls to the ground. Yeah, so that's one explanation. Why is it? What's the apple? What's the ground? What's the space of it? There's so many questions in the world that not to participate in the mystery of it is to lose your life. So Weird or What goes a little bit and tries to explain. The first one that comes to mind is, how did cocaine get into the Egyptian mummies when we didn't know that what we're calling South America, where they were growing the coca leaf, we didn't know it existed back then, or did they? I mean, even just the mystery of history is profound enough. So, Weird or What is a show after my own heart, based on the bewilderment and wonderment of everything about us, including human nature. Yes. Nice announcer, so everybody can hear. That's not louder, that's the same one.
Everyone knows you got to start on stage. Talk about why stage works so important.
Talk about why stage works. here's a giant screen, and you're going to see a movie. Kevin's Sorbo movie on Hercules. Yeah, that's right. One person clapped, that's all you need. So you sit there and you watch that, and he's good looking, he's handsome, he's doing it. But I'm on stage, and I come over to you and I say, "You, did you know that I love you? You don't know that. I love you, I really do. You're mine, and I want to be yours." That's true. Okay. Nice question. Way in the back, and I want you and I vest.
You're going to be on Psych, right?
I'm going to be what?
On Psych, the TV show?
Psych, yeah.
What episode are you going to be on?
What?
What episode?
Oh, what episode?
Yeah.
I'm on something I did. I don't know. I don't know what episode it is. I thought they were going to play it, but I think they're thinking November, I guess. Have you heard that it's going to be on?
Yeah. I heard that you were going to be on because you did that promo.
Well, I tend to forget all that stuff once it's done. I came to Vancouver to do episodes. It was an interesting part, and I've grown as an actor. I'm growing all the time. I'm finally finding out how to do it. You know, it's such a shame. How many of us have said, "Oh boy, if I knew then what I know now, I would do it differently, whatever it is." I feel that way every time I do something on film or on stage. Oh my God, I did that. I think I've got control of the material now. I wish I could do that better, whatever it was last week, let alone years ago. So I think it's good. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a bit of a cold. I think the Psych thing is really good. I hope you like it, but I'm not sure when it's on. I don't follow it. Yes, sir, right on there. Yes, you know. You.
I read once that you sort of, to steady your nerves, you often do math problems in your head. I don't know if
That I do math problems in my head?
I read that.
My math problem is I'm one, where's my other one? That'll make two.
You do a lot of exciting stuff. How do you psych yourself up for that? How do you?
I think I understand what you mean. What I'm learning, again, I shake my head thinking, I wish it sounds so simple. I wish I knew more how to do it now and knew how to do it yesterday, let alone all those years ago, is to be yourself, to be true to yourself. If you're feeling shy or badly or something hurts, not to disguise it. I mean, you don't want to be whining all the time, "Oh, this hurts." But what I guess I mean more in a psychological fashion, let it happen, let it go. Be yourself, and you don't have to psych yourself up. Like, I'm really enjoying myself answering these questions, and I'm not, obviously I'm not prepared for any question that you're going to ask, so the answer just sort of flows out of me, and I'm trying at the same time to put it in context so that you get a sense of the feeling of where the answer is coming from, but also the answer. And allow yourself to be free, and suddenly you're not only are you psyched up, you're like into it, and I'm like at one with you guys. I'm having the best time, and I can see by your faces we're all having a good time. We're having an event right now. We're having a moment. This audience and me. And that was bad English. This audience and I. Yes.
I was just wondering, you guys just started on the stage with Shakespeare. I was wondering, do you ever want to go back to Shakespeare? And if so, is there a role that you want to go, that you really want to do?
No. I keep being asked. I was asked to do a musical recently on Broadway. That's what I said. I love music. I love. Have you ever thought of what music is? I mean, can you imagine we're a violin, you've got horsehair on a catgut, and it's making a sound, or you're going through a tube and a clarinet, or that's a reed, a trumpet sound. I mean, music is extraordinary. I mean, the whales sing and other animals make sounds of talking, but we invent instruments to make music. I mean, think about how we accept it, because we're children. Oh, here's a piano. But it's wild that we make music. And then we train our voices to make this effortless sound that sounds like some of the instruments we make. I mean, the whole mystery of music is so wonderful. I love the music. I wish I could sing at all, let alone sing well. But what I can do is the musicality of the words. So, since words have a music to them, the pitter-patter of little feet is got a musicality to it and a rhythm to it. And if you get to it, it then becomes something that's musical. Now, if somebody writes a melodic line behind that, then the patter of little feet become music. And suddenly you're singing in a way. So, and by the way, that's exemplified by one of the great pieces of music in the last many years is Bohemian Rhapsody. So Freddie Mercury had this glorious voice, and Queens was a great group of musicians, and they performed the iconic Bohemian Rhapsody. It's gorgeous. People say, well, what does it mean? The lyrics. So I took the lyric of Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a strange song about a tortured individual, and I performed it. And then there was this, and the name of the musician now escapes me, I can't remember right now, Brian Mays did a guitar solo with Freddie Mercury. But our guy, his guitar solo echoed the agony of the character that I played on Bohemian Rhapsody. So there's this guy, so I shot somebody, and I gotta go, and I don't want to go. And at the last moment, I raised my voice, knowing that guitar solo would start at a certain point, so the voice and the instrument melded together as this guitarist took off and played this great guitar solo on Bohemian Rhapsody, which is in my record, the CD, which is sold out, so you can't buy it now. But there is the LP version of it. All right. So, a musical would be fantastic for me to do. But 8 shows a week again, and moving to New York again, is beyond my capacity right now. So, no, there's nothing that I would point at, so I'd like to do that. But every so often somebody comes to me and says, would you like to do this? And that's when I take a look at it and say yes or no. And that's where I'm at with that. Yeah. What my spiritual views are? Or meditation. My spiritual views are that the mystery out there is unanswerable. We humans cannot answer that, what that mystery is. I envy the people who say, I have a faith that that mystery is such and such. We'll call it God or whatever name you want to apply to it. I know that there's a mystery, but I wish I could buy into the answer that people have. So many people say, this is the answer, I know this to be true. Well, you don't know it's true, you have a leap of faith. We all talk about that. I can't get to that leap of faith because my mind says, well, why would that happen? Why would there be a heaven? And do we all go to heaven? And I love my dogs. Are my dogs coming to heaven with me? I mean, why would you leave out my dogs and my horses? Horses nuzzle up to me and they say, hey, Bill, I'm here. Let's go. You know, my old dog, hello. My dogs, when I left, you know how they know when you pack and you're going. And so my dogs know that Elizabeth and I are going, and they don't have anything to do with us. You're leaving again. I can't believe they're singing. You know they're singing. You can't. And I got a 10-year-old Doberman, and I say to him when I leave, now listen, I'm coming back in a week. You be here when I'm in. I don't want you dying on me now. And he goes, okay, I won't die. I mean, all that love and soul, that can't disappear, can it? And yet, where are all the loved ones that I loved? Why haven't they visited me and said, it's okay? Well, all I want